Hey, you guys, and welcome back to another episode here at Influencer Confidential. I am so pumped for today because our guest is someone that I have been masterminding with for the last couple of years. She is a friend, she is a mentor, she's someone that knows my crazy inside and out. We share all our business secrets, and she's been a wealth of knowledge and support to me in my business. Latasha James is the founder and creative director of James Park Creative, a social first video marketing firm servicing clients across the globe. She is the host of the award-winning podcast Freelance Friday podcast, and she is an educator to freelancers and creative entrepreneurs. Through her courses, YouTube, and podcast content, Latasha has encouraged thousands of people to start and grow their businesses, both online and off. She has had some major brand partnerships as well with companies like Metricool, Nikon, Meta, Charles Schwab, and more. We got to meet each other last summer in person. It was amazing. And I'm so excited to bring her here today. We're going to talk about her journey on YouTube. We're going to talk about her brand deals. We're going to talk about social media management as a revenue stream for creators and lots more. I can't wait for you guys to meet Latasha. Latasha, welcome to Influencer Confidential. I am so pumped to have you here with us today.
Yay, I'm so excited to be here. I can't believe I haven't been on your podcast yet. I feel like I have because I've known you for so long, but
Because we literally talk all the time that this feels so natural, but like now we're recording. It's beyond. As I mentioned in the intro, me and you met ages ago because we're both in the course industry. We're both on YouTube. We have overlaps in our business, but we also run in very different spaces. And you've been such a support to me in my business, like as a friend, as a mentor, someone I can go to for questions, someone to set me straight. And I know we've always been able to support each other. One thing I think I'd love to start today's interview off with is this concept of business owners also being able to partner with brands. So I want to just give
yeah,
you a little bit of an intro to this. Okay. So even just this morning, I had a call with this creator. She's in the crafting niche. She's like a crafter, DIYer. She has like 300,000, followers, and she's never done a brand deal because she doesn't see
yeah,
herself as an influencer. She's like, I'm a business owner. Like, we don't do brand deals. And I think that you straddled this in such a great way because you're also a business owner, but you
yeah.
also kind of figured out how to monetize or create a different revenue stream through brand partnerships. So can you talk to us a little bit about like how a business owner, maybe they're a coach or a consultant or even
Yeah.
a content creator, can still work with brands and how you've been able to do that in your business?
Yeah. Well, I think for me, it was definitely a mindset shift that I had to get around because it's like, I hate this, but as a business owner, I'm kind of like, I don't want to be seen as like just an influencer, which number one, there's nothing wrong with being just an influencer. First of all, like get that mindset shift out of the way. But even still, like I think I had to figure out a way to make my brand work in a way that felt like I was using my best skills, because the thing is, I don't have a million followers. And realistically, I probably am never going to. I'm not like a mass appeal creator where I'm doing entertainment content or family content that's like super relatable to the majority of people. So that's not my strength. But my strength is in strategy. It's in access to this amazing community that I've built, access to my clients, all of that. So I kind of look at my brand partnerships as like strategic partnerships. And I mean, I call them my clients. They are. I'm doing marketing for these clients. It's just in maybe a different way than managing their social media. So it was more of a mindset shift for me of like, wait, I can actually help these amazing tech brands do their marketing. It's just, I'm kind of putting myself in that driver's seat.
Yeah. And when did that shift kind of happen? So I know you mentioned mindset was like a big part of it, but like at what point did you realize, wait a second, brand deals is something that I can leverage? Like, yes, I can do
Yeah.
my course sales, and yes, I can do my consulting, and yes, I can do my cohorts, but wait, there's brand deals is an untapped market. Like, when did you have an aha? Did a brand reach out to you? Like, walk us through like that, those beginning phases, because now you've obviously killed it with the brands that you're working with.
Yeah. I mean, I've done brand deals on and off since I started YouTube, which was 2013. I probably got my first brand deal maybe a year or two later, but I was in a very different niche. I was in beauty. So again, it was like, do tech brands, do marketing companies even like what's going on here? So over time, probably like 2018, 2017, I started to get your kind of one-off brand deals with website companies, domain companies, things that were in my niche. I still didn't see it as a sustainable revenue stream though, because they were so one-off. I would say my first like year where I saw it being like, okay, this is a salary in and of itself, maybe a small salary, but it's a salary, was I would say like 2019, 2020 was where I started to get a couple of recurring brand deals and higher ticket brand deals.
Was there a certain like subscriber count that you felt like you hit to like open your mind? Because one of the things I hear, especially from all creators, is they have to hit a certain number to feel ready. They're like, oh, when I hit 10,000 subs, I'm ready. When I hit 50,000, I'm ready. For you, was it metric based or was it more just experience based?
It was experience. I would say at that point, I know I had under 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. I think I hit 100K like 2021. So I was under that. I was probably in the maybe 50 to 70,000 follower, which is a good following. So maybe there was a piece of that. I was like, okay, I'm established. But I think honestly for me, what it was frequency. At that time, I was uploading minimum 2 times a week, sometimes up to 5 times a week. I was like a machine. And so I don't know. I felt like a real YouTuber, even though I was getting way less views than I even get today. But I kind of felt more like a YouTuber at that point than I even do now because I was like living and breathing it. And I was really in tune with the culture of YouTube. So I felt like I really could make a brand deal kill it, because I knew what worked on the platform at that time.
One of the things a lot of creators struggle with when it comes to partnerships and paid sponsorships on any platform is pricing, whether it's YouTube sponsorships, you're consulting, social media. Like, how do you approach pricing in general? Like, top level, how do you kind of decide what that looks like for your clients?
You've got to know your get out of bed rate first and foremost, whether this is for a service, for a sponsor, for anything. I have a number that I'm going to feel resentful if I say yes to a project that's under a certain amount, no matter what, no matter if that's the going rate, no matter if I really love the brand, I just am. Actually, for brand deals, I feel a lot better. And for services, if it's like I'm getting a super, super low ball, I would rather not get paid and just be getting like a gifted something. Or for services, I have an allocation for volunteer projects that I do. Like, I would rather just donate my time than you like be offensive and pay me $100 for this huge project. So you've got to know that number first. Like, what is your floor essentially? And then it's just a math problem. I mean, it really is. It's like, okay, how much do you want to make in your business? And when we're talking about this, it's how much do you want to make for each revenue stream? Because I have my annual revenue goal. And then I kind of break that down between, all right, I'd like to make X amount of dollars from brand deals, X amount from client work, this amount for courses. And then you just reverse engineer that, and you do a math problem to figure out, okay, I have the bandwidth for maybe 5 sponsors this quarter. So that means I need each sponsor to pay me $10,000 or, whatever that number is going to be.
I love that. I think that that's such a great also mindset shift because I think so many of us can relate when we get underpaid. First of all, it reflects in the content. And I tend to think it doesn't do well because I always feel like the content flops when you're not excited about the client. Like you're not in it.
Yeah.
Versus if you feel like you're getting paid not only what you're worth, but above, you go above and beyond for your clients. You're like, this is going to be the best video. And it shows like the energy shows on camera versus if you're like trudging your feet, like, this doesn't feel right. It
Yep.
feels offensive, like you said. And who wants an offensive partner? I think that one of the things too is it seems like you really have this business owner mindset. Now you've been doing this for a while, but when did you decide to swap from hobbyist YouTube creator to this is going to be my business? And like, was there a moment that made that shift for you?
What's interesting when you say that, I'm like, I don't know that yes, I take it seriously and I always have taken it seriously, but I still feel like it is I love doing it. I say this all the time. I'm going to be making YouTube videos until I physically cannot anymore. Like I love creating videos. So
I want to co-sign that because Latasha told me offline that she's like, if I could just edit videos all day, and vlogs all day, I would. I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, and then I'm like, you're a real creator. Like you actually are a true creator.
yeah, for sure. So I think my YouTube channel, I always reserve the right to pivot and to change and to, change my niche because it really just started. It's a reflection of myself. in my life. That's always where it started. I was really passionate about beauty, fashion. I was working retail, when I started my YouTube channel. I was in college. That was my life. And then I started vlogging, and then people started asking questions about my career. And that's really how the marketing and business stuff came in, as I was like, oh, people want to hear more about this. And I have a lot to say about it because I'm really passionate. In my 20s, I was very career driven, as a lot of us are, that we invest everything into our careers. And now I'm like back to, I still am talking about that stuff, but I'm also in a little bit of a different phase of my life where I'm like, okay, now I want a little more balance. I care more about family, friends, relationship, travel, all that kind of stuff. So we're weaving that back in a little bit. So the answer is, I don't know. It's still my favorite hobby. I do take it seriously though, because it is a reflection of myself, and it is my medium, if you will, of art. And so I want it to be good. And of course, if I'm a business owner, so if I'm bringing brands in alongside that, I want them to get the value. I want them to, reinvest in me. So yeah, I take it seriously, but it still is fun as
I
well.
love that. So there is we don't have to sacrifice our fun of hobby. It's just, setting up maybe systems like you said. So you've worked with some major brands and you're making a pretty significant revenue. I know you've mentioned multiple six figures in your brand partnership. So this is clearly a big space in your biz. What have been, if there's anything that you can share, either like a brand deal that stood out or something that really was successful to you? Maybe not necessarily for the client, but what makes a brand deal successful for you?
Yeah. Well, I have two that I can share. One is my long-term partner. I've worked with them, I think, for 3 years now. They're Metricool. It's a social media scheduling tool, which I know you use as well. I love them. And honestly, it's just a great fit because the product is just so in alignment with my audience, what I teach. It works really well because my course side of my business is like half of the business. And the biggest course that I sell is for social media managers. And so like it all kind of really works together. I can talk about Metricool within my course. I can be promoting my course, and it works in tandem with promoting my brand's partnerships, because the video topics are the same. I can be linking to one and the other at the same time. Like it just works really, really well. And they're amazing to work with. I also have to give credit to Metricool and like whoever does their hiring, because shout out to Anison and Alex. They're amazing. They really understand the creator space. And so they're always suggesting new things. We have a monthly meeting where we talk about what's working, what's not. Just, it's a very open relationship. And I think that is why it's successful. I know that they would be comfortable coming to me if something wasn't working well and vice versa. And I think that is very important, that communication.
I want to highlight the word relationship when it comes to creator and brand partner, looking at it as a relationship. And what makes a good relationship? Open communication, trust, all these elements that we may not even have that perspective when we think of brand partnership. So I love that you use that word relationship when you're your long-term clients like Metricool that are investing in you as much as you're investing in that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then another one that was really fun. This was just a one-off, but it was one of my most fun brand deals I've ever done. It was with name.com, which is a domain service. Like you can go and buy domains. And they hosted an event in LA. It was called the Creator Come Up. And it was like a panel with a few different creators. They asked me to be the moderator of the panel. So they flew me out to LA, and it was a whole event promoting this, like the importance of a personal brand, which I think is so important because I think we can get really lazy with brand deals, right? On both the brand side and the creator side. It's like, oh, put this link in your bio, do this Instagram story. And it's like, that might not be the right way to be reaching your ideal clients. If you're a content creator, you want to go to in-person events, you want to learn from successful creators, you want to have those in-person experiences. This is also like right off the heels of the pandemic too. So I think people were really eager to like get back into in-person life. And I think it was the best use of my skills too, because I'm a speaker. I do lots of talks. I'm an experienced speaker, and I don't know, again, that the best thing for me to do would be to like post a TikTok. I don't know that that's the best use of my skills or experience necessarily, but having me host this panel I think was. And I got really great feedback on it. It was just so fun.
Hearing different types of brand partnerships. And like what you said, we're all human. We all get lazy. It's just so easy to be rinse and repeat. Okay, dedicated video, integrated video. You'll be in the first 30 seconds, robotic brand partnerships. And that could also lead to burnout, I'm sure. When you have these robotic brand deals that don't even bring joy to you anymore, I think we could see how that could affect the creator's soul versus like going to an event. You're in LA, you're like talking to people, but you're representing a brand. It seems like a really good situation. And I also want to highlight a lot of people listening in, creators, we always think of the big, sexy brands. I tell my creators, oh, you guys all want to work with the big brands. You mentioned name.com. Never heard of that. Domain service. They paid for creator activation. So don't always, focus on these big brand names, but also there's so many businesses out there with budget that need a creator like Latasha or a creator like you listening in to activate for them, to represent them. And I think it's really refreshing to hear smaller brands or brands that are maybe not as mainstream kind of be on the highlight, or be on the
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's how a lot of them get success. Like Metricool, I mean, they've been around for, I think, a decade or maybe longer, but they were primarily in Europe. They are based out of Spain. And so when they first reached out to me a few years ago, I had never heard of them before, but they do a really good job with working with creators. And I think that's helped them really like infiltrate the US market and become a leader in the space now.
Not gonna lie, I don't remember how I heard about them. It could very well have been you, but I heard about them around the same time and it had to be through a creator because I know it wasn't
Yeah.
a traditional ad. So kudos to them to figuring out such an organic way to reach, their target demo. And it just shows every niche has brand deals. If you're in the business niche, there's brand deals. If you're in fashion and travel, there's brands there too. So there's always something there. In terms of like brand partnerships though, and your overall revenue strategy, like what role do they play currently?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they make up, I think last year they were about 40% of my total revenue, which is so wild to me because I mean, 2, 3 years ago, they were like 10%. So it's huge growth. And how I said YouTube is my passion and I want to create YouTube videos forever and I want to do these fun videos and they support that. That's kind of, they give me permission to be a YouTuber and not always have to be like, heads down, I'm this serious business person. Let's do a launch. Let's work with a client. Sometimes I just don't want to. Like right now, summertime, I'm entering my YouTube phase for the summer. I'm doing fun things. I'm traveling. Like I don't want to launch stuff and be glued to my desk, but I can take my vlog camera everywhere and get some sponsorships and it kind of funds my, fun life.
So good. This is so good because especially as business owners, like I have an orthodontist I'm working with. I've worked with ENT surgeons. Like,
Yeah.
some people have really intense jobs. And I know that the content creation and the brand deal side is like so fun to
Yeah.
what you're really saying is that for someone here listening in, if you have a desk job, it does not mean that you can't pitch brand deals and have that as whether it be a hobby or a side business or something that just brings you joy. Because I'm not going to lie, when there are aligned brand partnerships, it is so fun to create those
Yeah.
stories.
Absolutely. And they spark new ideas for me too. It's like, if I don't know, Metricool, if they have a new feature that comes out, I'm like, oh wait, that would be a really good video to talk to my audience about. And so that can be helpful because when you've been doing this, I mean, I've been on YouTube for over a decade. It's like I've kind of put a lot of videos out there. Sometimes I'm like, how do I still have ideas? And so when a brand reaches out, I'm like, oh, perfect. I haven't done a video about a website in a long time. That's actually a good idea. So they can be good idea starters too.
And add value. I love that. So a lot of the people that listen in my community, as you know, they are creators. We do have some brands sneaking in and listen. But for the creators, any red flags when working with a brand? Like how do you know to walk away outside of money? I think money, obviously, you mentioned your get out of bed rate, which I appreciate. But what is a red flag for those that are maybe just getting started or they really want to work with a brand? Like any sort of lessons that you've learned along the way?
Yeah, I mean, one that I always warn people about, don't ever spend any money on anything. Sometimes you'll see that brand being like, oh, pay for this and then we'll reimburse you. That's sketchy. Don't do that. Check email addresses for sure. Make sure that they're coming from an authentic source. I even look people up on LinkedIn if I have any question. It's like, Nina Zeta from Skechers. I don't know. I'm going to look up to see if you actually work at Skechers or if you're just non-existent. But, as far as like relationship sides or like negotiation things, I am a business owner and it is a big red flag to me if I'll give you some tea. Okay. I just walked away from a brand deal because I got the offer I think it was like on a Friday afternoon, and they were like, okay, here's, the template for the brief, then all of that, like write out your ideas, your video idea over the weekend and get it to us on Monday or something like that. And I was like, I work Monday through Friday. Like I'm a business starter within reason. Now, obviously, of course, be flexible, if things come up or whatever, extenuating circumstances, long-term partner type situations. But like the assumption that I'm automatically just going to have nothing better to do with my life. They know nothing about my life. I could have a family. I could have, kids, whatever, like where I couldn't do that. But even if I could, it's just not respectful of my time or of me as a professional, of the working relationship. And so, yeah, there were just a couple of things. Oh, and then they reached out the next week and were like, we have a mandatory call that you have to join. And the invite was later today, the same day. And I was like, this isn't going to work out. I'm running an active business with clients and students and other obligations. So that's a big one for me, for sure.
And trusting your gut too. I mean, just hearing you say it just gives me kind of like, ugh, like,
Yeah.
like, I'm so happy you walked away.
Yeah.
And then lastly, before we pivot to YouTube and content creation and monetization,
Yeah.
what are any last words of advice or thoughts for creators that are looking to enter the brand deal territory and jump into this, head first?
Yeah. Well, I would say the other thing is think carefully about the brands that you want to partner with and make sure that they are in alignment with what you do is for anybody, but especially I think if you're somebody like me who is running a business as well, or if you have like a day job as well, you want to be careful not to that what you're doing, number one, isn't in competition with what you're doing because you are giving up very valuable real estate. I can sell courses, I can sell services in place of working with a brand. So I want to make sure that that brand is going to be adding value, not just to my wallet, but also to my audience. And that's the other thing too, is like my relationship with my audience is the most important thing for multiple reasons. But even if we're just thinking business reasons, if that crumbles, my whole business will crumble. It's not just, oh, Latasha, we don't buy her brand deals. Now it's we don't buy Latasha's courses. We don't hire Latasha for services either. If I'm going to be recommending a sketchy brand, it impacts the whole business overall. So be careful with that. And I am selective. Like I said, that was giving me sketchy vibes. And I was like, if they're treating me like this, what are they going to be treating people who pay for their services like? It's not up to the standard, So I'm very proud of the brands that I work with. And I do say no a lot, probably a lot more than if maybe I was only living off of brand deals because it affects, I think, even more, it affects the whole business.
Just as a reality check, because I always love to kind of humble, not only ourselves, but share. Do you also get no's? Like, do you pitch and do you also get no's too?
Well, absolutely. I admittedly don't pitch a ton these days. Every time I talk to you, I'm like, I need to have a pitching weekend because you're inspiring me. I need to because I could probably be doing more. But I don't do outbound pitches a lot, but I do definitely get no's to my rate. And that's okay. That's 100% okay because I feel good about it. Like I said, it's like, I know if I go too far, below my rate, I'm going to feel bad and it's not going to do well for either of us. I'd rather us just take some time apart and maybe come back a year later.
I'll call you. Don't call me.
Yeah. Yeah. Go our separate ways.
Okay, I love that. Well, thank you for being so transparent around brand partnerships.
Yeah.
I know the community appreciates it. So one thing I really wanted to talk to you about is YouTube, niching, content,
Yeah.
all of it. Okay, so you literally love YouTube more than anyone I know. And it's funny because one thing I know you've always said is like, guys, focus on long form and YouTube and all of that. And then I do want to talk to you about blogging as well.
Yeah.
But you are a big proponent of long form content. So tell us, why should creators listening in, especially a lot of us who've only focused on Instagram and TikTok, give YouTube a chance and focus more on this style of content?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think number one, it's the relationship. If you spend 30 minutes with somebody watching their daily life, I'm passionate. Like all that I watch right now is vlogs, honestly. I feel connected to them. And that maybe that's creepy and parasocial and whatever, but like that's just the way it is. I feel like they're my friend. And therefore, I'm going to support them when they have brand partnerships. I'm probably going to be more likely to buy if for no other reason that I just want to support them. I'm going to buy their product lines. I'm going to engage with them. I'm going to care about them. I'm going to be nice to them. I mean, it's just a different experience when you spend that amount of time and that kind of level of closeness with somebody versus the scrolling culture where I don't know if you hear people say this all the time. They'll be like, "Oh, where'd you learn that? Oh, I learned it from a TikTok. Oh, I got this tip from a TikTok." Very rarely do I hear people say, "Oh, I got it from Latasha's TikTok." This girl, Latasha James. It's just like kind of, like a vending machine of many different voices. And I don't want to sound like I'm hating on short form because it definitely has a place and you definitely need to be doing it in 2025 for sure. But it is a lot more just kind of, I don't know, here today, gone tomorrow, I think. Whereas YouTubers, you're like, or in podcasters too, it's like, I look for Danina's podcast. So it is a relationship builder, I think, first and foremost. For the brand side, I also think it has so much value because it is really hard to make an organic brand integration that doesn't seem just completely sponsored, in a minute, right? But if you have, again, a 30-minute video, a 20-minute video, you can integrate it a lot more naturally and or do like a podcast read that feels a lot less disruptive. If I'm doing a minute-long podcast read out of 25 minutes of value, people are willing to sit through that, even if it's not their cup of tea. But if I were to post a sponsored TikTok, people would not like it because like they're like, Latasha, you're just here to get your coins. Bye. You didn't give me anything. So I think that's a lot of value.
I have like a feeling in my stomach listening to it. It's so true because first of all, as you know, like we've talked about short form and my struggles with short form. Like I'm a YouTube gal all the way, a long form, a podcast. How the hell can you squeeze me into 30 seconds? It's not my jam. Whereas this just feels so good, and I feel safe too in the content. And I think a big part of as a content creator is finding the content that brings you joy. Some people, this would be their worst nightmare. Getting up,
Yes.
talking forever. They'd be like, how do you make 30 minutes? For me, I'm like, how do I stop at 30? So
Yep.
figuring out your personality. So I think there is a role for everyone. Again, you said offline that if you could do one thing all day, it would be editing
Yeah.
vlogs.
Yeah. I love it. It's my passion. I will throw in the caveat that like this is what I wanted to do with my life. I went to school for film. So I've actually been behind the camera since I was 15. 14, 13, I took my first film class. It was like a TV production class. And then I took a film class in high school and then I majored in it in college. So I've been making films in some way, shape, or form for over half of my life. So yeah, that's definitely like always what I wanted to do. I definitely never thought it would be YouTube. I thought I would be working in the news or working in media. But yeah, I love it. I think it's a really fun, like I said, it's my medium. Like it's creative. I love music. My family is very musical. So I love that aspect of finding the right music to match the tone of the videos and all of that. And I do. I think it's just a fun form of self-expression, and it's very meditative
So
for me.
important because so many people enter the content creator game like with the money in mind and not the joy of the art. And it's just so refreshing hearing you talk about like editing being joyful, shooting being joyful, work being joyful. And I think
Yeah.
that's why you've had such longevity in this space because it's not like, okay, let me pick a platform. Like,
Yeah.
do this because I have to do this to make money. It's more like I just love this creation and it has helped you obviously in your business, but because you love the content part.
Yeah. I think it's very important to know what type of creator you are. Because I think the term content creator, first of all, it's like so broad. It's like, are you a YouTuber? Are you a podcaster? Are you a writer? You have to know what kind of creator you are. And I think there are people like me who are creators first. Like at the end of the day, I would be happy even making less money if I still doing what I do, just like expressing myself. Like that's my key motivator. And then I think there are people or business owners who are like, I am in it for the business side, which is totally okay. Yes, that is, I love that. And like, thank you for motivating me and all of that. But you are probably a delegator, right? You're not sitting around editing your own video.
So I don't even watch them when they go up, to be honest.
Oh my gosh, that's wild to me. Yeah. And that is totally okay. But it's important to know what kind of creator you are because I'm not going to teach Nina how to edit and, oh, do you like this new like feature? No, outsource that and focus on what you do best. And same for me. Like I might be outsourcing other parts of my business that you love or just sacrificing some of them. Like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to take the summer to just vlog and I'm going to make a little bit less this summer and that's fine, you know? So you got to know kind of which type of creator you are, I think.
I love that. And I want to talk to you about niching down. One of the biggest topics in the creator world for growth and success is this idea of niching down, niching down, niching down. I'd love to hear your perspective on what niching down has done for you and also how you have been able to not pigeonhole yourself, but also create what does bring you joy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that niching is important. As they say, the riches are in the niches. I think that is true, not just from a brand partnership side, but also like from an SEO side. If you really want to make a name for yourself, I always say go after one keyword, not even because even niche can be very broad, right? Business is a niche, but I mean, like, that's so broad. Marketing is a niche, that's so broad. So, like, for me, when I was really trying to actively like peak growth on YouTube, every video that I made for probably 2 years had social media manager in the title, or at least the description, but probably the title too. So go hard after a niche, solidify yourself in that niche. And I think once you build up an audience, that's when you can kind of start to expand. So I wasn't, well, first, I think there is a moment of like playing around to find your niche. So there's probably going to be a little bit of chaos in the beginning till you find the thing that you like, that you are kind of gaining some traction on. Like I said, I started with beauty and then I was kind of more just like vlogging and my life in Detroit before I found freelancing and social media. So I did a little bit of that messiness. Then I committed to that for a while. And then I think you can kind of broaden a little bit once you have an audience that sounds bad, but like cares about you, not just the search term. Like they actually become a little bit more invested in you as a person. Then you can kind of broaden it. And that's what I've kind of done. Like I don't just talk about social media management. Yes, that still is a pillar, social media and social media marketing. But I also talk about like other areas of entrepreneurship, whether that's, like more video creation, content creation, web stuff. And then I also do vlogging and do stuff that's just like a little bit more personal and a bit more about my life as an entrepreneur that's related. But I'm not talking about like tacos or like, I don't know, something like completely random.
I think that's important to note. So on Latasha's page, right, you're going to see a video that's really valuable and helpful in marketing and business. You're not seeing a recipe video right next to it. You are seeing a day in the week vlog. And within
Yeah.
that vlog, you're going to learn that she's a vegan and you're going to learn that she loves to cook vegan food. So
Yeah.
talk to us how vlogging in specific has allowed you to be focused in your niche, but also integrate the things that you love. Because I know you're a
Yes.
big vlog proponent.
Yeah, I love vlogging. It's so fun. I started a series. I called it A Week in My Business like years ago. And I was like, how can I make this relevant to this new marketing business social media audience, but still get out my passion for vlogging? So that's what I did. I kind of just focused it around my work week as opposed to just, hey, I'm going to the movies today or something random. Now, I still do sprinkle that in. If I see a movie that's like fun, I'm going to tell my audience about it. And I think it balances things out too, especially in my niche. It's a lot. Like it can be heavy, it can be overwhelming. I'm a business owner. Like I said, I watch vlog content, I watch makeup content. Like I don't want to only just be like yelled at about business all the time. I want a little bit of an escape. So again, I'm thinking about my ideal audience member. I think about people like you, Nina. I'm like, what would she like to see? She doesn't just want to talk about business, you know? So there's a way to kind of like sprinkle those passions in and I think it deepens the relationship, because there are, to your point of like the vegan thing. I have clients who are like, I hired you because you're vegan. And I'm like, what? Or I've had two people, actually, two specific clients who say, one of the things that pushed me over the edge of working with you is because your favorite band is Bright Eyes. And I love Bright Eyes. That's my favorite band. I'm like, that's so random. And I don't make a dedicated video about that, but they clearly like were just watching me over the years. I'm like, we find points of relation with people, we're like, oh, I see myself in them in that little fragment of their life.
People want to work with people they like
Yeah.
and connect to and relate with. It's
Yep.
not just the resume, it's who you are. I think there's a quote that talks about, warmth is more important than competence in our field. Like we are not surgeons, we don't need to be
Yeah.
so skilled. We need to be likable, friendly, relatable, human. Your people will see that, you like bright eyes or you like to cook or you like to do this. And it just humanizes this really heavy space as well. So you've been on YouTube forever. You're clearly a consistent queen. And so many of us struggle with the consistency element.
Yeah.
Up to us about how you've been able to be consistent and any tips also around growth. I know there's no magic wand.
Yeah.
There's anything for someone listening in that is in a YouTube rut and looking to grow. Can you talk to us a little bit about that as well?
Yes. Well, for growth, I'll say my answer is very simple, and that's post a lot of content. Post, keep posting, even when nobody is listening. I was hey guysing to no guys, okay? There was nobody there. And I think I kind of feel like privileged to some extent of when I started because I didn't know the potential of YouTube. Like I was so ignorant to it. I was like, oh, cool. 3 people watched my video. Awesome. Now I think it's hard because people see what's possible and you're always comparing yourself. So post a lot. I did vlogging challenges, like there's Vlogmas. I did one called Veda Vlog Every Day in April, where I literally vlogged every day in April and in August. I did that twice for like 2 years in a row. So, it builds up your muscle as a YouTuber. It helps you find your niche. It helps you go through all those growing pains way faster, than if you're going to post one video a week. Your growth is going to be slow. So you just have to post a lot, honestly. And audiences like that. Audiences frequent content from you. They don't want to hear from you once a month.
And everyone starts at zero. So like we all have
Yes.
0 subscribers,
Yep. For sure. For sure. But yeah, as far as consistency, I mean, my answer for that is one that a lot of people don't want to hear, but it's batching. I think, I'm a lover and a hater of batching. Like there are certain types of content like vlogs that I'm not, I don't batch vlogs. They're more real time and they're a little bit more exciting for me. I think that's why they're the types of videos that I like to edit more because it's kind of like a little time capsule and it's fun. But for my podcast, so I do every Friday a video podcast. I choose the days where I'm going to have my hair and makeup done. I'm like, cool, that's the day. Let me block off the second half of the day. Like today, I'm going to do that after this call, actually. And I'm going to sit down and I'm going to film at minimum like 2 to 3 podcasts. So I think that really is the way to consistency. And then if you are more of a Nina, less of a Latasha, and you are not a huge fan of editing, hire an editor. So you can then take those videos off your camera and be done with them. Send them off, get them done.
That's
Yeah.
literally what I do. I send them off and I don't even see them truly,
Yep.
when we go out. Of course, my business partner, Clarice, oversees and
Yeah.
that they're all good. But absolutely, I agree with the batching. One of the things that I would counter, though, with batching, at least for me, is that it kind of created a lack of motivation for me. Like I just felt like my social was not alive, but you have logging. So I think that's how you've been able to keep the page alive and fresh. Because for me, I can go into the studio once a month and shoot 4, 5, 6 videos, and then I don't have to do it again. And
Yeah.
others benefit to that. I kind of took my foot off the pedal a little bit. So I think
Yep.
even now, podcasting has kept me alive. I come now weekly. I get to do this a little bit more. And it's also figuring out the batch, but like you said, the sprinkle of content that does bring you
Yeah.
excitement and relevancy.
Yeah. Or even just having, like, for me, Instagram. Instagram is more of my community platform. I very rarely post on the feed, but I'm always in stories. Like, that's where I'm like, okay, here's the new video. And not just here's the new video, but hey, I saw a comment on today's video. Let's talk about this comment. It brought up this new little like rabbit hole for us to go down. So it's kind of, you can keep your content alive in different formats or not repurposing necessarily just by like ripping the video. You can do that for sure, but maybe that's posting a carousel on Instagram that's related to your weekly video or posting a LinkedIn post or whatever.
So for YouTube, would you mind kind of just walking us through like processes or like a typical week? Because I know for some of us, the time commitment's scary. So can you kind of just share like what is that process? Are you constantly filming? Do you have, I know you mentioned batching, so that's something that you do on a Friday to prepare. But for the
Yeah.
vlog stuff, like walk us through process and then also any equipment recommendation for the
Yeah.
newbies wanting to jump in.
Yeah. Vlogs, I do them when I want to. This is important. I look at my calendar and number one, I'm like, well, there are just weeks or days of my life that are very boring. I'm just sitting in front of the computer, not going to be fun for anybody to watch. But if I'm traveling or if I'm doing a speaking gig or if I'm doing a podcast with Nina, whatever, like maybe that's something that I want to vlog about. So I schedule them according to that and I designate those as vlog days. And then I kind of write out a list. Actually, I just use my notes app of like what's going on that day. So today I'm doing a daily vlog. Like I'm doing a timestamp. This is what I'm doing day by day. So I basically just write out my schedule for the day. And you find little areas that are going to be interesting to highlight. So to your point, I'm not just going to heat up leftovers for dinner tonight. I'm vlogging. It's not that I'm being fake or like putting on a show, but I do want to vlog something that's more fun. So I might be thinking, okay, what's a recipe I've been wanting to try, or what's something that I haven't shown the audience yet? And I'm going to make that for dinner, or I'll schedule something, even just like planning out your outfits. That stuff can help you. So you're not like, oh my gosh, like I feel so chaotic or so boring. So that helps for vlogging. And I usually vlog like probably like once every other week. I'm not vlogging every day or anything like that. Yeah. And then for videos, no, I'm not filming all the time. I'm filming like once or twice a month for the sit down videos
Same.
and just batching. Yeah.
Any equipment that you love for YouTube? Do we need
Yeah.
fancy camera when we first start?
Oh, no. Oh my gosh, no. Half of my vlogs are filmed with my iPhone just out of convenience. Like, if I'm going to a grocery store, I'm not bringing in my fancy vlog camera. Some people are fine with it. I'm not. Okay. I just feel weird about that. So half of my in-person or, out in the world vlog clips are filmed with my iPhone. Very great, good quality. Even for like sit down YouTube videos, start with your iPhone until you decide that you like it and you're good at it. I would say if you're going to be doing talking to the camera, and you're using your iPhone, just get a microphone, which there are tons. There are like wireless options. There are also little like boom microphones that you can get for your iPhone just to take it to the next level. What I use for my vlog camera outside of my iPhone is a Nikon Z30, and they were a brand deal with me, full disclosure. So I did get to work with them, but I do love the camera so much. I have a lens that's a wide angle lens, which is nice. I think for vlogging in particular, it lets people in. So like when I'm vlogging, you see like everything behind me. You're not getting like a super tight close up of my face, because that's a big part of vlogging, is seeing the environment that you're in, seeing what you're doing. So I really like that one. I also have the DJI. I don't even know what it's called. The little,
No, I love that. That's
yes.
what I use for vlogging.
Yeah, I have that too, which I'm still kind of playing around with, but I love it. Especially I've been traveling a lot more. So it's fun if I'm just like going away for a weekend. I don't want to bring my whole fancy vlog camera. Yeah,
Yeah, no, for me, that product is like,
it's amazing.
yeah, definitely. So now shifting gears to monetization. A lot of the creators that I work with want to jump into content creating. They want to quit their 9 to 5s. They are good at social media naturally. They are constantly making, creating this, that, the other. And one avenue for monetization that a lot of creators tend to jump into is social media management. They
Yeah.
pitch a lot of consulting work. They're like, hey, I can do this. Like, I know social. And this is like a revenue stream that we see a lot of creators, especially those that have that content background, or they love it so much and they love creating and posting.
Yeah.
Also find that this is the case. Like, this is a great next step for creators who are ready to take the leap for, doing social media management as a monetization stream for creators.
Absolutely. I think social media is such a good entry point into the whole wide world of digital and online business. Social media management, I think if you're already creating, you kind of know the ropes. You know how these platforms work. You have an interest in it. You have the skill set for sure. It's just about figuring out what types of brands you want to work with. Maybe you need to get a little bit of industry expertise in the niche that you want to work in, but you know how it works. The cool thing about social media management too is that it's flexible. So unless you're going to get like a 9 to 5 job in social, if you're going to freelance social media management, you work on your own hours. You pretty much just need a laptop. I mean, maybe your iPhone. It's nice in that you can still work your brand deals around it and flex up or down too. Maybe you just need one client to supplement your brand deals. Maybe you need 5. So you can kind of go up and down.
So tell us about your community. I know that you have a program that helps, or teaches social media managers. I'd love to learn a little bit more about what you're building and what you're doing. And also, have you seen the role change? So what I mean by that is I assume that now more and more social media managers are also UGC creators, and more of them are providing not only the scheduling and the engagement and the comments, but they're also producing content. So talk to us a little bit about your community. I know you have a bunch of students that you've taught throughout the years, social media management, and also share with us how this role has changed in the last couple of years.
Yeah, great question. So my community is called the Social Media Management Accelerator, and really it's meant to help you learn how to do the job of a social media manager in a way that is professional, polished, that is efficient, and also how to actually sell your services. So it's kind of twofold. We talk about social media strategy, content creation, all of that good stuff. But then we also talk about the business, the back end business side of setting up your website, developing your unique value proposition, all that good stuff. So it's really fun. It's a course and a community. So we do live Q&As, live workshops, guests, fun things like that, in addition to like this core material that you get forever. And so that's a community. And I think this is a great place for content creators. There is a huge need for people who understand content, and not content like, oh, I know how to create a quote graphic in Canva. No offense to, that's old social. That's what I was doing 10 years ago. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. That really made me stand out that I knew how to do that. Nowadays, no, we need people who understand video, who understand vertical video, who understand like how to adapt to trends quickly. It is a faster moving space than it used to be, where you could schedule out a content calendar a month in advance and like that was fine. Nowadays, you got to be more nimble. And I think content creators are really equipped for that. Love it or hate it. I mean, social media management used to be like, you just schedule posts. Now, you don't necessarily have to be creating the content. There are kind of truncated roles and different ways that you can do it, but I think it makes you stand out if you have the ability to be a one-stop shop.
I was going to say, it seems like a really great fit for a UGC creator to also offer that as maybe an upsell. Like, hey, I can create a suite of 15 videos a month. And in addition, I can also schedule them, caption generate, monitor sentiment, all of these things in addition to take, that UGC package to a higher, more retainer-based type package. Because are you seeing that, at least in social media management, is it more retainer-based income and therefore a more stable, longer term? I remember when I did social media management at the beginning of my career, I would say 3 to 6 month minimum. So I was guaranteed a certain amount of time, not just a one-off. And that gave me such breathing room. And what world can you make someone's social media channel good in 1 month? You need time,
Yeah, that's definitely what I recommend to people is minimum start contracts for 3 months so you can see some growth and learn the brand and all of that. But yeah, anywhere from 3 to 6 months I would say is pretty standard for contract lengths. And yeah, you're so right. It's actually funny because I was doing UGC before there was like a name for it, before I knew what that was. That was a huge kind of advantage that I had years ago for my social media management clients. They'd be like, oh yeah, we should really get on this video thing. And I was like, well, I can do it. And I would just do like, you can dig deep on YouTube and you'll find my face on all these tech brands, YouTube channels. I was doing UGC for them. So I think they can definitely be great upsells and definitely be great complementary services to each other.
Sounds like something you can do by yourself. You don't need a team. It's something that you can be a very one woman, one man show around it. Now, that's something I know me and you have talked about a lot in our mastermind sessions. I'm a very team gal. I like working with people. I feed off them. I like big teams. I want to build big teams. And Latasha's opposite. Latasha actually recommended this book, I think, all about the solopreneur life. And she's more about, kind of doing this on her own. So I would love for you to share a little bit more about that as well, whether it's for creators who want to do social media management or business owners or whatever. This idea of you don't need to build a team to be successful.
Yeah. Well, first of all, this is your life and your business. That's what I'm always trying to remind myself when I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to hit this revenue goal or something. And it's like, why? Do I actually want that? Or am I just saying that because I know my friend did it or because it sounds like a cool, nice, clean number? Do what you want to do. My therapist recommended I do a values assessment years ago. I don't know if you've ever taken one of these. I can send you the link to that too. It'll help you identify like your core values. And for me, my core values are creativity, health, inner peace. None of those things are like, make $1 billion. Sure, I'll welcome it if that happens. But like I said, I want to have fun doing what I do. I want to feel at peace. And so I think it's important that all of your decisions are guided by your values, whatever they are. And everyone has different ones. So yeah, I had a team of 7 at one point. And I will say my business did well. Like, it was doing well with those roles. I was not happy though, because I felt like I was in corporate again. I felt like I was a manager again. That was my job. I wasn't really a creator. I was technically the face of the brand, but like beyond filming the occasional YouTube video, I was just at my desk on meetings all the time, signing checks. That was it. And I was like, I don't know. I miss working directly with the clients. I missed just like the bad things, like handling the customer service. I think is really valuable because I am seeing the feedback and I can respond to it, and I can, number one, help the customer authentically myself. but I'm also getting feedback. So I'm like, oh, maybe they're right. Like maybe I didn't deliver on what I promised and I need to fix something. So for me, I like being in the weeds with it. Now, with that said, you also do not want to burn yourself out because I did. I had like a health issue, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, that took me out of the business. And I was like, okay, maybe I do need to hire again because like I'm all I got. So I think there is balance and I think I'm going to hire again for like a couple of just freelance people, freelance support. But yeah, you got to kind of find your balance.
It's funny because I'll always like tell Clarice and I'll be like, Latasha does this by herself. Like literally, she has the YouTube, she has podcasts, she edits those, she has a cohort, she has a choreo, she does brand deals. I'm like, how? I actually think you have superhero abilities that maybe you just don't know about, but clearly you do a lot. And I think you also give yourself a lot of grace, like you said, to be able to slow down when you want, because guess what?
Yeah.
It's your business. And if we're going to make less this summer, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You get to
And,
have
and I,
summer where you travel, you know?
Yeah, and I don't have the pressure. That was the other thing too, is when I did have a large team, I was starting every month like 10 grand in the hole or whatever it was. I don't have that same pressure now. I'm like, whatever. Well, I mean, obviously not whatever. I still have goals and stuff, but
Course. And I
sure.
think a lot of people dream about building the team, but with that, there is a lot of responsibility and pressure. And part of being a creator and wanting to build your creator empire is because you want to create. So in
Yeah.
Latasha's case, it took out the creating and
Yeah.
stopped it being from fun. But I do love this concept of content creators becoming social media managers. I've always told the creators in my community, like when we look at the pie of monetization, we talk about affiliates, we talk about brand deals, we talk about digital products, but I always talk about consulting as well. I'm like,
Yeah.
you guys should be consulting. Maybe you're not doing the logistics, but knowing how, because there is a world where you could not be the social media manager, but you still have the know-how and people could be doing it on your team. So
Yep.
for example, anyone listening and looking for a more stable monetization stream, social media management may be a great space for you. And even it's funny enough, I tell creators all the time, just because you offer the service doesn't mean you have to be the one to fulfill it. So you
Yes.
could say, hey, we offer UGC, scheduling, posting, blah, 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 blah. Maybe you just do the UGC part because that's what you love. And then
Yep.
you find someone else that supports on, outsource that. The client doesn't need to know that, correct?
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And that is how I work all the time still. Like if somebody needs a photographer in Miami, I'm not a photographer in Miami, but I have people there who I can kind of subcontract. So, yeah, you can absolutely do that.
Love that. This has been so, so helpful, Latasha. Thank you so much for sharing your insights on brand deals, on YouTube growth, on blogging, sharing about social media management as a monetization stream for creators. I'm going to include it in the show notes below, but do let us know how everyone can find you, connect with you, learn more about your amazing program, which, by the way, I 100% put my stamp on it because everything Latasha does is so beyond helpful, valuable, done with excellence. She is a professional, and I'm so excited for everyone listening or watching that is curious about social media management, especially as a creator. I 100% would recommend you guys to go check out Latasha's programs because she kills it in this space. So let us know, Latasha, how we can connect with you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me. This was so fun. LatashaJames.com has everything. And YouTube, I'm just Latasha James. That's where I'm most active.
I
So,
love it. And there's search around your name because if I put Latasha, like you pop up. I'm like, you are the
hello.
Latasha of YouTube. It's so good.
Okay. Amazing.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Latasha, for joining. And guys, like I said, you can connect with Latasha on all the spots. I'll leave all the links that she mentioned below as well. And you guys can always follow Latasha on all the spaces and connect with her. She's a wealth of knowledge. Get ready to binge her YouTube and her vlogs. They are amazing.
Thank you so much.